Joining me now is the Gatestone Institute senior fellow and author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang. Gordon, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I know you've got a new op-ed out saying that China has folded in the trade war. Tell us more.
Yeah, the important thing here is that China, without any announcements, is not collecting tariffs on important goods. So, for instance, some semiconductors, aviation products, industrial chemicals, medical devices, some medicines. And also, they're going to expand that list because there are lists circulating in China of 131 items that China may not impose tariffs. So this is going to expand. It means that China is made an important concession, but it's not saying it's making a concession, which is a fascinating insight into the Chinese political system right now, which has become both intransigent and inflexible.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because the president has said now is the time to hit China with these tariffs, given that economy is in a weakened position. How would you assess the Chinese economy right now? And what is the impact of a 145% tariff on Chinese goods coming into the U.S., Gordon?
Yeah, it's not growing at the 5.4% pace that they reported for Q1. It's probably contracting, as we can see from the price data from both February and March, which signals that China's in a deflationary spiral. We are seeing underlying indicators that point to contraction, including tax receipts that were down 3.5% for the quarter. That's inconsistent with robust growth. And if China is not contracting now, somehow, it will be contracting very soon. So when you talk about 145% general tariff on Chinese goods, this really means that many factories aren't going to be selling anything to the U.S., which explains why some factories have already closed and other factories are cutting down their shifts.
Meanwhile, the Philippines is denying reports that China seized control of that disputed reef in the South China Sea, Gordon, and then they unfurled their flag on the island. Now, both countries' flags are flying on the reef. China's Coast Guard is accusing the Filipino personnel of illegally boarding the reef, even as both countries claim control over it. So how are they denying it if, in fact, they unfurled the flag? I spoke with National Security Advisor Mike Waltz yesterday, and I asked him about it, and I asked him how the U.S. is going to respond to China's aggression. Watch this.
When I'm looking at this from a national security standpoint, we have to bring our supply chains home. We saw even cheap items like masks, gowns, and gloves, if they're made abroad and not made here, become a national security issue. We have to have clean supply chains for our military equipment. That is a key element. Rebuilding our military under Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, focused on meritocracy and lethality, is a key element. And then, of course, working with our allies, and it's no accident that President Trump had Prime Minister Modi of India, had Prime Minister Ishiba of Japan, and made calls to the Prime Minister of Australia and South Korea. Yeah. All of those pieces are key elements of our competition with China.
Gordon, your reaction?
This is really important because at a time when China needs friends, because it's not selling goods to the U.S., it is going out of its way to antagonize not just the Philippines, not just Taiwan, but also South Korea and Australia. This shows that China is going, this is end of regime conduct. Because, you know, Xi Jinping, he can't appear to be giving in to the U.S. He has configured the Chinese political system so that it is hostile. And also, because he's been making the claim that China has surpassed the U.S., he can't look dependent on trade with the U.S., and he certainly can't look like he's talking to the U.S. under pressure. So when you have the Chinese lashing out at the Philippines at Sandy Cay, as you just showed, this is really very perplexing behavior, and it shows that something is very, very wrong in Beijing right now.
Wow. Meanwhile, China's Huawei is preparing to test a new and what they claim to be more powerful AI processing chip. They are hoping it's going to surpass NVIDIA and the H100 chip. Gordon, what do you think?
Well, this is Send 910D, which is you're referring to. And, you know, they're going to roll it out in May for testing. And they say it's more powerful than NVIDIA's H100. But let's remember, the H100 It was released 2 years ago. So, yes, they're making progress, but let's not be terribly weak in the kneed about this, because China is still behind the U.S., and the U.S. has not really imposed sanctions meaningfully. Yes, we have sanctions, but we've rolled them out in a way so that China can get around them. We don't enforce them with the vigor that is absolutely necessary, and our sanctions are not as comprehensive as they should be. So let's get serious about sanctions, and I think we'll put even more distance between us and China in the near future.
All right, Gordon, we'll be watching your work, certainly. You've been spot on all of this for so long. We so appreciate your time and knowledge. Thank you, sir. Gordon Chang this morning
Well, thank you,
on
Maria.
Communist China.